Hey guys, so side note, I became a plant mom because of what's been going on in the world. It's been stressing me out, so I ended up buying a bunch of plants. Never have I ever thought that I would just want to learn everything and anything about how to take care of plants, but now that's a thing. And I know you're probably here just for photography reasons, but hey, if you guys like plants, we can have that conversation too. And also, this video is going to happen soon. It is the X100F. It's not the V. I'm sorry, but yeah, I just got this last week, and review will be out soon, but I have not made a video because I've been using this during current protests, and yeah, but this is amazing. Never thought I'd be a Fujifilm person. Always been Canon and now Sony and all the others, but now part of the Fujifilm family. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Joan here, and I hope you are doing good, because I think that's the number one question I always ask is, how are you and how are you feeling? And if you can comment below and respond, I will also reply to your response. So I'm okay. I could be doing better, but then again, that all depends on how we define being okay. And I just wanted to have a conversation with you because it's one thing to continuously put out videos here on YouTube, but at the same time, knowing that you have a voice, whether you have X amount of subscribers or a following on Instagram or whatever, I feel that the fact that you have this place, this platform to be able to speak your mind and share whatever it is that you want to share is a privilege, because not everyone is confident enough to be in front of the camera and say whatever it is that they have to say and have people watch it. It's not easy, and I get approached all the time asking me, how the hell do you do it? And honestly, I feel more comfortable with my camera altogether, regardless if it's behind or in front of the camera. Despite me preferring to be behind the camera, I honestly feel that I feel comfortable more talking to a camera, sometimes more than speaking to a person, because a person can be intimidating more to me than a camera. So anyways, going back, I wanted to start a conversation about not just what's going on in the world, but just life updates. I feel that I haven't done a heart-to-heart conversation with you guys, especially since COVID, and I just felt like I wanted to do a video. So sorry if it's not a camera gear video. I would just go and watch a different video if that is what you are looking for. But I feel like that you're smart enough that the fact that you clicked on this video is because hopefully you want to hear whatever it is that I have to say. So if you're still watching, thank you. I appreciate it. Just saying it already. So let's just go back. I was on spring break in March, and that's when I traveled, going to Arizona, Hawaii. And it was funny because there was a guy that asked me out on a date, and I told him no. And then he asked if we could still hang out, and when I told him I was traveling, he was like, okay, in the following week. And then I told him I was going to Hawaii. It's just the funniest story that I have to always share that has happened recently, because it's like, I know that if I was in his place, he probably is like, this girl's totally ghosting me and she does not want to have anything to do with me. And it was real, because obviously I went there and I posted photos. I wasn't trying to avoid him. And yeah, it got to the point where he blocked me, and I was just like, okay, whatever, floats your boat. And that was the start of COVID for me. After my travels, I came back, never went to school physically again, had to adjust being on video, classroom, whatever, teachings, and then had to learn how to manage all of that, plus just trying to adjust with the world. And the first 2 weeks, I was in a huge depression. I know I'm already a person who has depression, but it just got even worse, like many other people. And then after those 2 weeks, I really told myself, I was like, I need to really just get out of the slump and do something. So then I ended up buying a guitar, which was something that I've always wanted to get back into because, like I've shared before, if you watch previous videos, I was bullied in high school and I just never wanted to perform with it anymore. So got a guitar. And then I learned how to play piano a bit, kind of like fell off because of work, but I really was practicing every day, every single day for how many weeks learning piano. And then after that, I just was like creating so many different projects. I don't even want to say YouTube videos because they were just random projects that I just want to do because I just am the type of person who can't just sit still and not do anything. And I feel that what makes me the most happiest, what is my coping mechanism, has always been doing photography. Seriously, I feel that every time I've been in a dark place, photography has helped me feel better, whether it's just taking photos of miscellaneous things, going outside and capturing someone's portrait that never even knew you were a photographer but just was happy that you were able to take a photo of them. Stuff like that makes me feel better. And I think one of the best investments that I ever got last year was buying myself a bike on Black Friday, because if anyone knows, the Tokyo bike's pretty expensive, and I bought that for myself for Christmas. And now that the weather is better, I've been riding my bike a lot, and as you can see from previous videos, I've been documenting it and not even thinking that people would enjoy me riding my bike and taking photos. So then with that, honestly, I ride my bike because it helps me mentally not just stay home and self-quarantine. I needed to go to the park or just have some sort of recreational activity to just get outside. And with all the restrictions of like what you can and cannot do, riding my bike was like the best thing for me to feel better. And I'm someone who usually goes to the gym like all the time, and with the gyms being closed still, it was very hard to watch YouTube videos and do workouts at home because there's just so many distractions. And so riding my bike has been the thing that has helped me recently since all of this has happened. And I know that a lot of people have thought that 2020 has been a ridiculously crazy year, and it just all just goes from one after the other event. And it's like there's like world events, and then there's like our country events, and then even like our city, like where we live events, and then our own personal events. So it's just a lot to take in, and it's only now June. I feel like every month when it changes, I'm like, it's only this month, and the year has not been over yet. And I feel like every month there's always some other thing that's going to happen, and you just never know what to do and what to make out of it. And so when school was over, it was interesting because I think not just the students, but even the professors were like so over it. Being like just on virtual video classrooms was just very awkward. It got to the point that I didn't even want to show up to one of my classes anymore. And I just told the professor that honestly, I am someone who enjoys being in class in person, and doing this whole Zoom call is just not my thing. And if I didn't fail, luckily I still got an A, but like I just was like, it's just too much to deal with. And yeah, I just couldn't only imagine what everyone else had to deal with what's going on. And I feel that after school, I thought I could take a break for myself, like a mental health break for 2 weeks and just not do anything. But then I got called into work. If anyone knows, I work for a TV show called 90 Day Fiancé. A lot of people watch it. I just recently am up to date with what's going on with the show, but before, when I started, I never even heard of it. I don't watch reality TV show. When shows like that would be on like MTV or something, I would always flip the channel. I'm not into stuff like that, but I was guilty of now watching like Love Island or Love is Blind, and then after that I had to call it quits. I just felt like I was like wasting so much time watching other people do other things that it's just irrelevant to what I have to do and unnecessary drama. And so I just went back to now reading a book, which my therapist recommended, called Power is Now. Maybe some of you guys have read it. And reading Beastie Boys book, writing, like just jotting down. I journal a lot. That also has helped me feel better. I journal every day because sometimes you want to say something to someone, but then you feel like there's no one to turn to, and I always feel like that. And I feel that my journal is someone who's always reliable, that I could always like open up and just like pour my heart out and just let all of that energy go to. And so that's another coping mechanism that I do when I'm very sad and depressed and feeling lonely. This whole time, I think I've just felt like a roller coaster of emotions. I know a lot of people are like, classmates or what have you, they're always like, Joan, you're always doing something, I always feel like you're busy. And I don't know how you do it. And for me, I don't know if it's because I'm an Aquarius or whatever, or the fact that I was born with 2 Aquarius parents. I feel that I'm such a workaholic, especially where I live, where it's right next to New York City. Yeah, it's just very, very overwhelming. And I try my best not to let it take the best out of me, but honestly, it's not easy. Creating YouTube videos has just always been an outlet for me to just make stuff whenever also I feel down. Sometimes I feel like I have a message to say and I can only say it visually because I'm a visual person, compared to just me just blurting out words, and half the time I think nobody's even listening. I'm someone who has high anxiety. I'm somebody that when I'm in a crowd full of people, I feel like everyone is just busy focusing on each other, and I ask myself why I'm even here. Why was I even like thinking that people would even care about my existence? Those are the things that come in my mind, and I admit I'm an overthinker. I am highly sensitive to many things, and that's why I go to therapy, to learn how to deal with it. And it's not easy. Many people know that they have triggers or things that are problems maybe in their life, or things that can cause them issues in other situations and relationships in their life, but they don't do anything about it. But for me personally, I know that I've never even knew that I had these things until now, where I feel that I've been focusing and self-reflecting more on myself and learning what are the things that bother me, and that my feelings are valid, and that I should never be prone to thinking that whatever it is that I have to say doesn't matter, which I thought for many years, because I didn't think I was smart enough. I didn't think that my whatever it is that I had to say mattered, because there would always be someone else out there that would outshine and seem cooler, or would just be the so-called better person in my eyes. So I just felt like, why would I even have to say whatever it is that I have to say? And because I'm a very big observer also, I like to just watch people and see their body language and just understand how they react to things and how they are as a person before reacting for myself. And so that's just a whole thing of what I've been feeling during probably most of my life, and even more now. And another thing that I never really addressed is this me being published in our local newspaper. This is what is here. I never thought this would happen. Just randomly put that video together and didn't even think that someone from the newspaper would find it and would want to interview me and ask about it. But for me, the project was very interesting because it just was the fact that these people felt safe to share with me their secrets, and the fact that it was just interesting to read, because at the same time you realize how many people in the rest of the world also can feel the same way as you're feeling, and that you should never feel alone, which I've been expressing throughout this video right now, is that I've always felt like no one understood me. I felt like I was the only person that felt that feeling. And I would always get that question, like, Joan, like, who are you? Like, why would you just think it's just you, right? Like, that's crazy talk. And honestly, I've been surrounded by so many people that don't really talk about how they feel. They don't express their problems in a way where they want to break down and cry. Some do, but they're on situations that I honestly don't relate to. And we all have problems, and I know that. But it's different when it's to the point that a person really understands and has dealt with the same situation as you do, because then you're just like, oh, I'm not alone. And so that video just was really interesting because it just kind of spread out, and people have all reached out and talked to me about it, which, like I said, I've just wanted people to not feel alone. And I know that I'm still dealing with a lot of trauma in my life, and it's definitely not an easy journey. And even still, it's a hard conversation to have with people, because sometimes you feel so confident enough to talk about it because you're just like, I know that I'm stronger than this. And then while you start being in the conversations, in the midst of it, you start feeling sad. You start realizing that maybe you're not as strong, and that's okay. But it's a lot. And the deep conversations is where you learn the most about yourself. So there was COVID, and that still exists. I'm not downplaying it, but with the whole social distancing and people not knowing or remembering how to realize how to socialize anymore, and it got even to the point where, like, because my mom's a first responder, I had like an N95 mask, and people would make me feel weird because I had that mask on while they had whatever makeshift mask they were wearing. And as if like it was like a pretentious thing to wear a mask that just was like higher quality in some sort of way. Honestly, it's just the fact that my mom gave it to me, and it's just interesting also to see how people would react just based on a mask. What more if it's color and race and everything? Honestly, what's going on in the world, we all know it's not new. This is a conversation that has been ongoing, and at the same time, for me, I'm not going to preach about what you should and not do. Honestly, being in these protests, luckily in my city, have been very peaceful. There is no looting. There is no whatever it is that you see on the news. I barely watch the news. I feel that the news triggers my anxiety. And so if I watch that and I see our president, I just don't know how I'm going to feel. But at the same time, I feel that you should still be conscious and aware of what's going on in the world. And at the same time, I feel that the conversation is just being equal, that everyone should be treated equally the same. Doesn't matter who you are. We all have our kinks, we all have our bad habits, we have our imperfections, and at the end of the day, we are all human. And I feel that that is the message that is so important, that pretty much generalizes everything that we've been trying to protest about, is the fact that we just need to be good people, and that we shouldn't categorize anybody. And at the same time, you shouldn't look at somebody and think of them as less than you, because it's like we are all the same in some sort of way. We just don't know yet what it is that makes us all in common, besides the fact that we all are human beings. And so that is a thing that my mom honestly obviously doesn't understand. She knows that what's right and wrong, but it's a conversation that as a parent you're overprotected because you don't want any harm to be put on your child, especially when they go out there in the world. But at the same time, I had this conversation with my mom about the fact that it's just so weird that not just police, but just anybody who's not empathetic to people who get hurt, who can just like walk away or pass by someone who's injured by anything and just pretend or just act as if it never happened while it's still happening. And for me, I never understood that, and that's why I always felt like I was alone in the world, because I always felt awkward in the world, because I knew that my human talent is not necessarily photography, it's being an empathetic person. I feel things more than other people, and it's just like, I always just thought that it was a thing that I shouldn't be feeling. But then in reality, it's such a good receptor to knowing when things are wrong, when knowing that things are red flags and are bad moves. And it's just crazy to think that there's people in this world that don't have that can just walk away with not feeling any sympathy towards any harm on people. So I don't know. It's just a lot to think about. And for me, I've just been trying to digest it as much as you guys are. And so I just want to end this video with something new that I've been working on, which is I started a month ago having conversations with creative people. And I don't want to just say YouTubers. I just know I want to have conversations with people that I feel that have something to say, but just felt like they can't say it because whatever it is, the circumstance is. And at the same time, they probably just want to stick to their branding of their YouTube channel or website or what have you. And I feel that I have so many friends or people that I know that have things to say, regardless if it has to be about justice or about just photography in general or relationships. I feel like these are just deep conversations that people do have but don't necessarily get to hear about all the time. And so I started this whole interview talk show called Creative Juice. Creative Juice. Which will launch next week, and you might recognize some fellow YouTubers that you have watched before, and just us having a conversation about getting to know who they are and what they're all about. And sometimes you binge watch and you watch so many videos of a person, but you want to know more about them. And so if you have any recommendations about somebody that I should have a conversation with, please comment below. I'd appreciate it. I'll check them out. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching my videos. Honestly, sometimes I honestly don't even know who is watching unless you leave a comment. So if you'd like to say hi, please comment. I just want to end it with, if ever you feel some type of way, you should not be afraid to say it. You should be able to feel comfortable about speaking your mind, and whatever it is bothering you, your feelings are valid. And also, as always, be a good citizen, because we need more people like that in the world. So thank you, and